Yeah.
Hey, everybody. Let us know where you're from.
hmm
Chat.
And we are going to be starting quite soon because we love to start on time. And we are
Yes,
actually very excited for today's show.
we are.
There we go.
All right.
Hello.
Okay. So let's get official.
Let's get
All
official.
right. Welcome everyone to first off the new year to
Yeah.
2026. We're so excited to be starting. Could be our fifth year, right, Amy? Doing
Oh,
this show. Who
something like
knows?
that. Time flies when you're
Time
having
flies
fun.
when you're having fun. Exactly. So, anyway, yeah, just so much love and light coming to you for 2026. We, of course, will be here with you every single month, every step along the way, supporting you in your expansion and living a heart-centered life. And so, with that, I want to officially welcome you to Live with Marcy and Amy, the Heart Centered Woman. And today we have a very special show and a very special guest. And we are welcoming you to Awaken Your Multidimensional Heart in 2026. Release fear and hesitation to move forward, empowered with clarity, prosperity, and purpose. So, welcome everyone. Amy, what's
Yeah.
up, girl? Here we are.
Here we are. And I just want to mention to people out there, yes, we have this monthly live for women just like you who are, we're facing some challenges, especially in 2026. And we get to meet these challenges with an open heart, with a foundation of a grounded foundation so that we could really make 2026 a special year for all of us as we move together in community and with hope and excitement and also with discipline, right? With
And commitment.
commitment and discipline and being on our own side and really investing in ourselves. And today is going to be a beautiful experience for everybody. And also there will be a workshop that we will have on the 22nd that Danielle is going to lead for us. And I'm very excited about that also. So, I'm Amy Shade. I am the creator of the Radical Embodiment Method. I do support women in their growth as we shed all of these preconceived notions of who we're supposed to be and to really step away from the old paradigm and to really step into a new way of being that is aligned with ourselves. And we're all individuals and we all have our own individual alignment. And I really support women in really finding that alignment that they want to move forward with and to man, let's go, ladies. This is it. 2026, 2025. I don't know what happened, what was going on over there, but 2026 is it. So Marcy, why don't you introduce yourself real quick and then we will hand it over to Danielle and take it from there.
Yeah, for sure. I'm Marcy Newman, known as a heart shift coach in actually, this will be my 53rd year of helping people to heal their hearts on a professional level. And so my work is focusing on teaching people, particularly women, how to cultivate the courage that it takes to create a self-love lifestyle, what that means, actually, what it demands of us. And of course, how to heart shift, how to make that long journey from the head to the heart in order to recalibrate the energy of the heart so that we can truly create and live heart centered lives. So, with that, I'd like to introduce our special guest today. I'm so excited to have her here, Daniela Lynn Viola. And I'm excited because what I realized is, Danielle, you've been on every single show I've ever had in all these years. So welcome, welcome.
Oh, thank you so much. Yes, Marcy. I remember the first time and everything, and we just connected like we've known each other forever. So thank you so
So
much for the
true.
opportunity. Yeah.
Yeah, so fantastic. So I want to tell everybody a little bit about you. Danielle is an ascension and awakening guide, a master energy healer, clinical and transpersonal hypnotherapist, a light body surgeon. Don't hear that one every day, and intuitive channel. Through utilizing her quantum multidimensional abilities and talents, along with her own connection to the source, she serves both individuals and groups by guiding them through a profoundly powerful yet gentle, loving process of merging one's shadow and light into oneness, thereby actioning the process of coming into wholeness from within. Having been born, I love that, bridging both the spirit and the physical realms. Danielle grew up exploring and embodying her multidimensional self. In 2016, and I think we're going to hear more about this, everybody, after experiencing a sudden and surreal reincarnation in the same body experience, she was shown humanity's and the Earth's potential and has dedicated her life to embodying the awakening process and showing the way of reclaiming our divine birthright to live as our expanded whole self, heart open, happy, healthy, free, and sovereign in the truth of who and what we are as human creators of pure source, love, light, the all that is in human form. So, with that, first off, you can see exactly why we've invited Danielle to be here for our first show. There's no better person that I could think of, other than Amy, of course, to help us to ring in this new year. I want to share two quotes with you very quickly to help us to set the field. First one is from Paulo Coelho, and it's don't give in to your fears. If you do, you won't be able to talk to your heart. This is quite significant for us today. And the second is I'm learning every day to allow the space between where I am and where I want to be to inspire me and not terrify me. That's from Tracy Ellis Ross. So, with that, Amy, you want to start us off?
Yes, I do. I'm chomping at the bit.
All
So,
right.
tell us a little bit about what drives you and your background and what has led you to be here with us today.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
if we can get to know you more.
Ooh, what a first question. So what drives me? Oh my gosh. Um, and it's a little bit going back to the reincarnation in the same body experience, which we will get to. But like as Marcy so beautifully opened up, and thank you both so much. I mean, as you guys were talking and sharing, I was just getting like truth bumps all up and down my body. So energizing. So when I was born bridging both worlds. Like I both was spirit and physical. I did not forget where I came from. And so I found myself having a lot of out of body experiences, astral projecting, like from birth. Like I remember being super young um, and being in the house and wanting my mother, like from the crib. And I would just pop myself out of my body and go find her in the house. And I was happy to like hang out up on the ceiling and look down and watch her do whatever she was doing. And so what drives me is that knowing, right? That we are so much more than just this, right? The idea that, the electromagnetic spectrum, for example, who's heard of the electromagnetic spectrum, right? They covered that in school. The electromagnetic spectrum is broad. The visible spectrum, what we're aware of, is literally like if that's 100 feet long, the electromagnetic spectrum, the visible spectrum is only 2 inches of that. So what drives me is the understanding that we are so much more and the ability to engage and work with those things so that we can get a higher vantage point on our life and on our experiences, right? So many of us are filled with fear, or we're confused, or we're uncertain, and it's because there's so much of that spectrum that we don't have access to. And so what drives me is to bring that knowing, bring the tools, bring the awareness, bring that embodiment, and share that with those that resonate, so that they can live their lives from that eagle's perch, right? From that higher knowing. So that's what really drives me. And that's what brings me here today in front of all you beautiful people.
Yeah, I'm gonna make a comment. I'm gonna comment. Yeah, when we look at our life at eye level, we are, as you say, just missing so much of what's actually available to us. And can you speak a little bit about like what might be available to us in those once we get out of the eye level experience?
Yeah, yeah. So once we're, as Amy said, once we're out of that eye level experience and we expand our conscious awareness, we become aware of more of the subtleties, the things in our life that drive us to pay attention to things that need to be paid attention to. So a really great example of that is like when you become aware of angel numbers or feathers, or the fact that everything is energy, vibration, and frequency, and we attract to us that which is in alignment for us. So like a very quick story, very quick. This is probably, gosh, well over 10 years ago. I was driving my car, and I was driving along on the road, and all of a sudden I looked down and I had 6 bees in my lap. This is up in New York. Driving my car, all of a sudden I just looked down and literally 6 bees buzzing in my lap. And at that time, I had this awareness that everything is energy, vibration, frequency. So although I was freaked out and I needed to pull over and get out of the car, I knew that these bees, that wasn't by chance. They were there. They had a message for me. There was something in that for me. And so what I came to understand is that bees are very much about productivity, connection, community. They're also very psychic, if you will, right? Very multidimensional. And so what they were doing is they were there to show me that part of me. They were there to show me how to become more organized, things in my life that I needed to work on and pay attention to. So this is just like one of the examples of when you start to be aware that everything around you is energy, vibration, frequency, and that you are attracting things to you, then you become very empowered, knowing nothing is by chance. Everything has a reason, and that there's a way to be able to track what that reason is and then garner the wisdom, the knowledge, and all of that and bring that into your life so that you can level up. Like that's one example. Was I clear with that? Like,
Yes, I love that. I love
Yeah.
that. Thank you for that clarification.
I also have a question about that. As you were talking, I was wondering, Danielle, in your experience working with your clients, what are some of the things that your clients are experiencing when they're in that limited vision, when they're not able to get out and look at their lives from a higher view? What are some of the things that they experience there?
yeah, yeah. In that space, one of the most prevalent things is this idea of victimhood,
Mhm.
right? That we're a victim, like something happened and we now have to deal with that. Like we're powerless to change it. Like something, some people might say God's being mean to me, or the world doesn't like me, or why am I always stuck, or how come nothing ever works the way I want it to work, right? And we have a tendency when we're not in that more expanded place, more empowered place, we have a tendency to look at that like as if something's happening to me, something's happening against me. And so that's very limiting. I mean, just the idea that something's happening to me puts you right away in a place of like, I'm powerless to change any of it. And so the gift of it is when you go into the expanded place, you rise above that and you realize everything's happening for a reason. Everything is happening for me to support me in stepping into my highest alignment. Yeah.
Great. And I think we've all been there, right?
Yeah.
We've all had experiences like that. And what's so wonderful when, we get into this work and we do start to experience life with a greater fullness, right? And a more empowered view, which Amy and I like to talk about. So, Danielle, I know you are here to help guide both individuals and groups through their journey of awakening. What is the awakening, and how did you come to find yourself in this role?
Yeah. So people talk about, the awakening, at least in the spiritual community. I know we talk about it quite a bit. So the way I see awakening is it's a path of remembering. So we all have, under this model, if you will, we all have everything inside of us. Meaning you've been everything, you've done everything, maybe not in this body, but maybe in other experiences that you have. If you prescribe to the idea that, we live again and again, that we have had other lives or other experiences other than this one that you're currently having. But the awakening is a process of, it's like when you go from a place of feeling like you need things, right? Like, oh, I need this, I need that. If I have that, then I'll be okay. If I have this, then I'll have what I need to be able to feel better. The awakening is, instead of from an external, internal drive to pull in, it's more of an allowing. Like it's an allowing of who we really are to come forward. When you awaken, you come to the realization that you're so much more than this, and that whatever this isn't your true, pure self, right? When I say your true, pure self, we're talking about, each one of us came into this world like as an innocent baby, right? And when you look at babies, one of the reasons why so many people love babies is because babies are pure. They come out and they're just like, yeah, life, they're filled with curiosity and love and joy, and they just want to have a great time, right? Of course, if their nappy's taken care of and they've been fed and all of that kind of good stuff, but they're filled with unconditional love and joy and wonder and curiosity. That's our true innate self. That's who you are, that's who I am, that's who they are. So anything that's not that is a program. It's some conditioning that we bought into along the way. So when you step into awakening, what you're doing is you're calling, saying, I want to be my unique, organic, innate self. I want to step back into that place where life is a joy and a wonder and a curiosity, and I'm filled with love and loving life. Right? That's the awakening process. It's a process of going within and allowing yourself, the true, pure, organic, innate self, to come forward, which means you're clearing away whatever's stepping in the way of that. So for example, if you were grew up in a house where you had to work hard for every penny, right? And you were raised in such a way, like if you didn't earn it, then you don't deserve it, right? That's not our pure, true, organic way, right? The world is actually an abundant place. You are actually a beautiful being. Like you don't have to earn it. You have a right to be here. You have a right to take space, right? You have a right to be who you are in each moment unapologetically. And so when you awaken to that part of you. You make a vote to the universe and you say, or a command rather, and you say, I'm ready to step into who I really am. Maybe I don't know who I really am. Maybe I'm confused. Maybe I bought into what people told me I should be or shouldn't be, but I'm ready. I'm done with that. I'm ready to rise. I'm ready to awaken to the truth of who I am. And I'm ready to take steps in action. I'm ready to be in courage and step into who I really am and take action on who I really am. That's the awakening.
It's a great explanation. So if somebody is awakening, how do they know? Number one, like, does it just happen like a lightning bolt, or how do people typically experience it?
Oh my gosh, that's such a juicy question. I just get so lit up with a question like that. So it's different for everybody. Everybody awakens differently. For some people, it's a very sudden thing. For other people, it's a subtle thing. For some people, it takes a really long time, a whole lifetime. But the way to know that you are in a process of awakening is where you start questioning things typically. Start saying, no, I may have believed that my whole life, but I really know that's not true. And I want to step into something new. I want to step into something that feels better, because I know that's not really true, but yet you might feel like you're not able to actually step into that. So an example of that would be like, I know I'm deserving, I know I'm worthy of love, but yet I still have these relationships where I'm not treated the way I want to be treated. And it really doesn't feel good to me, but I know that I'm more and I can feel the yearning. I just don't know how to get there, right?
Mhm.
A lot of people experience it on that level, coming out of the gate. But there's many, many different ways. But typically you start questioning, you start saying, I'm done with this, I want to move on. Maybe I'm feeling a little sticky, I don't know how to do it, but I'm ready, right? That's a good way of knowing that you're in an awakening process. Yes.
Yeah, and I just want to comment on the programming, how we as women, and men too, we're so indoctrinated into this idea that um, going shopping will make us happy, getting married, having kids, all these things, which is really about, we are creating a false identity around things that we are programmed to really supposedly desire. So what are some of, even for me, like having this type of understanding and still having to work on the release, still having to work on the letting go, that that's not who I am. And oftentimes it's such a sad struggle to go through, or there's a grief process involved in the letting go. Can you speak a little bit about that?
Yeah, that's a really good point. And the reason why there's a grief there is because literally like it's a part of you is dying, right? The part of you that maybe you relied on all that time, right? It's no longer in resonance with who you are now and where you're headed. And so that part of you has to die so that the new part of you can become embodied. So another, if we were to go to the example about unworthiness, for example, right? Say you were raised conditioned to feel like you're unworthiness or you don't have enough. And then you start stepping into that worthiness. That means that all the beliefs and the judgments and perspectives and the patterns that you hold that keep that unworthiness operating, they got to go. And that could be very challenging and painful because it's what you've relied on your whole life. Now you can't rely on it anymore. And that could be very unsettling. It's kind of like you're here, right, in the unworthiness. Where you're headed into is the embodiment of your full worthiness. So you've left here, but you haven't landed here yet. You're floating somewhere in the middle. And that's where, a lot of people are, right? A lot of us are in those places. We haven't quite landed yet there. So stepping into that awareness and knowing that you are on a path and a journey and, having the tools. That's why I always say to my clients, my students, that's why we got the tools. You employ these tools, you see how they work for you, they support you in being able to navigate that in between to keep you supported and propped so that you can actually land on the other side more whole, more complete, more efficiently, more effectively, smoothly, like with ease and grace. We talk about ease and grace a lot. Yeah, so it's a journey, right? It's a path, but once you begin that path, right? Whether it's, awakening, stepping into that new way of being that is really healthy for you, you got to honor that because it takes courage, it takes strength, it takes a real willingness to say, been there, done that, and I'm not doing it anymore. Anything's better than that now. I have to move forward. And having that support and having the tools and is what can make that journey so much more comfortable, more rewarding in the moment. It's always rewarding no matter which way you slice the cake, but when you've got those tools and that support, it's the level of empowerment that you feel inside where you can navigate your day to day and feel really good about where you're at in the moment. That drives me hugely to provide that, to support that, and to be the most beneficial impact to empower you or those who resonate with being able to really follow your own inner compass and inner guidance to get you to that place that you deserve, where you belong.
Beautiful. So let's talk about this. Why is living from the awareness of one's multidimensional nature. So important. And what are the benefits and of living from that place of awareness? Because we're talking about a multidimensional nature. So I'll also explain that a little bit more, the multidimensional heart.
Yeah, yeah, thank you. So we're gonna really get into a lot of this with the workshop, right? We're gonna do some experiential experiences. So I'll do my best to try to articulate it, but it's really something that needs to be experienced for you to really understand what that means. So when we're talking about multidimensionality, again, you're talking about like with that visible spectrum and the ability to be able to navigate in that space. Multidimensionality, understand that the heart is actually your source connection. So whether you believe in, God or angels or the universe or, Allah or whatever that higher power is, your direct connection to that source is through the heart. So right there, that's a multidimensional perspective. You understand that your heart is not just an organ that pumps blood through the body, but that it does so much more. And when we speak about multidimensionality, let's approach it from this angle. We are multidimensional beings. One way for you to know that you're multidimensional is right now feel into your body. You could feel into your body, feel yourself physically. Maybe there's a little chill in the air and you can feel it on the skin, right? Maybe you're sweating a little bit, or you can feel your hair on your body, your physical self. But if you close your eyes and now you connect with your mental self, your mind, right? You close your eyes, you can connect with, this is my mind, these are my thoughts. Now, your mind, your thoughts, that's not something you can see. It's not so much physical, right? It's mental. Your mental body. That's part of your multidimensionality. You can take it a step forward and then you can connect with your emotional state. Many times, right? That's what you did, Amy, right there on the heart, right? Your emotional state. So right there, you're connecting with your multidimensional heart. It's not just a physical organ pumping blood, but there are emotions. And when you get upset or you get really filled with joy, you feel that in the heart. But feelings are not physical. Feelings are more energetic. It's multidimensional. So when we approach our lives from a multidimensional place, we approach our lives not just from the awareness of our physical self and the physical reality and what we can actually see and touch, but you are focusing as well on what you're thinking, on what you're feeling, and you prioritize that awareness just as much, if not more, than what you can physically see and touch. That is a prime example of multi-dimensional living, because where you are right now in your life, sitting right there, everything you ever thought or felt and any of the decisions or choices that you made based on those thoughts and feelings have brought you to this now moment, to the physical reality you are living in. And the thing is that we as human beings, we don't really pay a lot of attention. I mean, how many thoughts can you really remember that you thought today? And there's bazillions of them, right? We could talk on and on and on. So when you approach life from a multidimensional place, you know that your reality is based on everything you thought and felt up until now. So you pay a lot of attention to that. You give a lot of weight to that. And you take action and consideration on that. Because that's just as real as this pen right in front of me. And even more so, it impacts every moment that you experience of your life. So if there's an area of your life that you're experiencing that is not enjoyable for you, that is not in its highest expression for you, then approaching life from a multidimensional standpoint, just bringing awareness to what you're thinking all day, the feelings that you have, being willing to be aware of those things, that's the first step. That's multidimensional living. And it produces a life that's filled with more synchronicity, more empowerment. You're able to shape your life consciously into what you want it to be. You understand that you are the owner and the driver of the ship of your life. And you're able to use your mind and your emotions and your body in alignment to create the outcome that you're looking to experience consciously. I know that was a lot to take in, but
No, it's perfect.
yeah.
Perfect. Because oftentimes we forget the body. We get so caught up in the mind and how important the mind is and our thoughts, and we believe that that's the way to go, but we're missing so many different aspects of our energetic being and our past and our present and our thoughts and our emotions and our beliefs and our embodiment. And so
And
so
there's, if
yeah,
I could just interject for a second, because there's something running right through me,
sure.
is that allowing again comes up, right? Because what you're talking about, Amy, is the attachment and the fixation of the mind that has us rolling in the same place where we make no movement. And then we wonder why we feel stuck or stagnant or lost or powerless. It's because the fixation of the mind. And that's one of the reasons why I went down the line of hypnotherapy, because I felt that really is such a powerful tool to support people in the awareness of how the mind works and how to get the mind to focus and to connect with what we really want, letting go of what we don't want, which allows our true organic self to more fully come forward.
Yes, and I'm gonna say, as a creator, and we are as women creators, our mind's ability to make up stories is so we're good at it. We're
So
so good
creative.
at it. So creative. And we must be aware that our own stories and our own creativity are getting in the way
Right.
of many of the things that we desire.
Yes.
It's
Yes.
just to put a little humor around that, because we are very imaginative and we could come up with all kinds of stories.
Oh, yes. And go down a lot of rabbit holes and just get ourselves looping and looping and looping. So when you live multidimensionally, you are connecting with wherever you're operating on that level, and you're bringing conscious connection to it, and then utilizing your tools and whatnot to course correct, to redirect, right? So like, just really quick, one of the things that really helps me is the ability to clear the mind when we realize the mind is going to a place that's not helping us, right? Been down that road, thinking about that, I'm fixating on that, can't let that go. And one of the things is just using the power of the mind to clear the mind. And you just keep doing that over and over and over again until finally a disconnect happens, and then you're free of that attachment, and now you can let go and allow.
Yes. In fact, I've come to the the point where I'm like, the mind is just a tool.
Yes.
It's a tool
Absolutely.
for me to redirect, to talk myself out of things, or to let go of things. So I have given less value to the mind and more value to the embodiment of emotions and how I'm feeling in that moment. And we all need to focus our stories and dreams in a very positive, what we truly desire.
Yes, absolutely. And the thing is also, to add to that, is as we align, it's not just about thinking positive. That's part of it, but it's by far not the totality of it. Because the other portion of it is that there's a reason why you're fixating on that. There's a reason why you keep thinking that way. And that needs to be investigated. That needs to be tracked to its root, find out what's there, understand it, clear it out, create the spaciousness to now be able to redirect yourself into that higher state, the higher perspective, focusing more on what you want while letting go of what you don't want. But many of us, we find it very difficult to let go of what we don't want, because there's attachments, there's things there that need to be understood, seen, heard, felt, so that they can move through, and that the new space and the spaciousness can be there to create. Because so long as those attachments are in place, you can keep trying to think positively all you want, but it's just going to be a hamster wheel.
Is that one of the benefits of the hypnotherapy that you do?
It's one of them. Yes, absolutely. Because I also do coaching with that, right? Anybody who works with me, they know it's always a mixture between the healing portion and then the coaching portion. Because whatever it is that's, say, cleared, or the revelations or the ahas that come in, then we need the support to really integrate the new into the body. And so integration is a whole nother portion of that awakening or that healing process, right? Which, awakening and healing is also akin to coming into wholeness, right? All that fracturing. But yeah, absolutely. The redirection of the mind coupled with the clearing of what the attachments are, so that you can then integrate into and level up into that new higher state of being. It's really not new. It's just allowing, right? It's just what's inside you. It's just bringing forth what's inside of you.
Getting out of our own way
Yeah,
so it can
exactly.
come forward.
For
Yeah.
sure. Yeah.
So, I think it might be a good idea, actually, Daniel, to talk about the workshop that's coming up on the 22nd. So much is coming, all the information about that workshop is sort of encircling you right now with everything that's coming up. Do you want to talk about this? First off, everyone here, Amy and I are hosting excuse me, this free workshop on the 22nd with Daniel. And it's another 90-minute workshop. But do you want to tell us a little bit about what you're going to be doing? Because it sounds absolutely amazing.
Yeah, I'm so super excited. Yeah. And thanks again so much for hosting. It's just so beautiful to share space with you guys, or gals, I should say. So yeah, so next week at the workshop, what we're going to do is we're going to get down and we're going to get into it. We're going to get hands-on with various processes, protocols, tools, tips, things that really can make a significant impact in your day-to-day life to create more stability from within, more grounding, more focus of the mind and presence. It has a lot to do with cultivating presence, right? We get pulled into so many different spaces and places in each and every moment. And I don't know about you guys, but it's really easy for us to forget. Like, how many of us forget? We forget where we put the keys, or we forget where this is, or we forget where that is, or we forget what we were supposed to do. How many times you get up from a room, you go into another room, you're like, what am I doing in here? What was I supposed to be doing, right? So in this workshop, I'm going to be showing you and providing you with tools on how to clear your energetic space, how to be able to really open the heart, how to and understanding the connection between the mind and the heart, and how it's actually through the mind that we can open the heart. Right? A lot of people talk about the heart and heart opening. It's not as simple as that. We have to actually, in the beginning, till we learn that new way, we have to go through the mind to open the heart. So we're going to talk about that. Again, the tools and the processes and the protocols that are going to help you to bring yourself vibration, raising your immunity. There's going to be so many things that we're going to experience in this workshop. And I'm super excited, to come in and connect with you all and share with you all. Like, there's really nothing more that gives me greater joy than, sharing. So.
And I put the link in the chat for everyone. And again, it's free, 90-minute workshop, and it is filled with so many processes, which I just couldn't believe when you gave us the outline. It was like, oh my goodness. So I can't wait for all of that. But so one of the things that I wanted to ask you is, in your work, and I know you've been doing this work for a long time. How long have you been doing this?
So it's like 9.5 years, about 9 years
Yeah.
now.
I was going to say it's probably about 10 years since you and I first were on my first podcast. So I think it's been about 10 years at least. So let me just ask you, as we all evolve, you clearly have evolved, right? Your work evolves. And what does what does the energy of ascension that we're all connected to now, what does that have to do with your own personal evolution and your expansion and your ability to work with your clients?
Wow, what a beautiful question. Thank you so much, Marcy. Yeah, so the ascension.
What is that, first off?
Yeah.
I'm sure
So
lots of people have questions.
So I've been talking about this for years. For me, the ascension and my reincarnation in the same body experience go hand in hand. So if you guys recall, like coming out of the gate, I was multidimensional. So I always had that knowing in me because that was my experience coming out of the gate the first 8 years of my life. So just long story short is I went through my life living all my programming of unworthiness, abandonment, and it showed up in my relationships, my career, you name it, everywhere. It was a very painful, very arduous journey that led me, gosh, it was probably 25 to 30 years I was in that space, right? And just trying to make my way the best I could through life. And what happened was one day I said, I'm just done. I can't do this anymore. This isn't sustainable. I was addicted, to various drugs, pharmaceuticals. I was down and out. I was separated from my husband at the time. And I was just really, really suffering in a lot of programming and drowning. And what happened was I just said, I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I can't sustain this anymore. And Spirit answered in the form of what's called a reincarnation in the same body experience, which is an experience where in the moment you die. Now, it doesn't mean that I was like in cardiac arrest, but literally I was walking out of a bagel store. It happened at the most arbitrary time. And what happened was my soul left my body. I died in that microsecond. When my soul left my body, I don't like, they talk about it in NDEs where people are given a life review. And what happened was it was like, okay, you had a choice. You can either die and move on to the next plane of existence, or you can come back into your body, but with more of your soul in your body, in essence, upgraded, right? More of my higher beingness in my body. Well, obviously, I chose the latter because here I am sitting in front of you all. And what happened was the second I came into my body, I was out of it. I was literally tripping out of the door of the bagel store on the road in Long Island, New York. And my whole life flashed before me in that moment, like everything that I ever experienced when I was very young, all the pain, all the trauma, all the toxicity, all the abuse. And when it flashed before my eyes, I realized, oh my God, I've arrived. Like, I'm here. Like this overwhelming feeling of like, oh, I'm here, I've arrived, I've landed, I'm in my body and I'm here. I mean, it was the most surreal, amazing experience. And everything made sense to me. Like everything I went through, all the pain, all the heartache, everything made sense to me. And so right after that moment is where I had the download of the insight of who we are, the planet, like that the planet's going through this massive change, a shift, which I came to that later on understand as the ascension. That literally what's happening is the sun, I think most of us are aware that the sun's going through this change, right? They talk about the coronal mass ejections and the solar flares and all that. That's not by accident. What that is it's literally light, gamma, photonic, intelligence, if you will. There's like all these codes inside the light that's coming through the sun that's telling us all to do something different, right? It's telling us all to wake up, if you will, right? In simple words. And there's an actual scientific geometric measurement for this called the Schumann resonance. You can look it up online, Schumann resonance, and you'll see that like typically the Schumann resonance measures the vibration of the planet. So typically say the Schumann resonance is at 50 hertz. Now with these coronal mass ejections and the solar flares, it goes up thousands of hertz. It's like, oh my gosh. So what that is this intelligence is shining through to the planet, and it's telling the planet to wake up. It's telling the planet to raise in vibration, just the way the Schumann resonance, the hertz, the vibration shoots up. And so literally what that's doing is just like we are nature, just the way the sunlight has intelligence that tells things to grow in the seasons and all of that kind of thing, we are part of that. So this ascension is literally, the codes are coming in telling us to level up, buck up, wake up. And that's one of the reasons why out in the world seems to be going to hell on a handbasket, right? It's because literally, as the light shines with this higher frequency, whatever is really low and dense, like all the yuckiness, the lies, the manipulations, all that stuff that's been there this whole time is now in our face. And it looks like mass confusion and chaos out there. So the ascension is the process of raising in vibration where you can no longer take with you what is low vibration, right? And that's why it gets very, very uncomfortable for a lot of people, because quite literally, like, the external seems to be in chaos, which means that we as people internally feel that chaos. That chaos is the lowest vibration in you that wants to leave. And that's why many of us feel this push, like, oh, I got to get out of that, whatever that is, whether it's a job, a relationship, a home. It's like, I got to get out of that. I got to get out of that. It's quite literally the energy is telling you, wake up, level up. That's not good anymore. You can't live that way anymore. And you know what? If you keep resisting it, it's going to get more painful. It's going to get more difficult. It's going to feel more grinding, right? We're all experiencing that one level or another in some area of our lives to some extent. So that's the ascension. I was shown that, right? Because it was like literally I got this download, like a huge zip file came in me and boop. And it was like, what was happening on the planet? We're going through this. And this was back in 2016. And at that time I was teaching in New York. People thought I was cuckoo. I said, no, there's this thing going on. We're going to be shifting into this whole nother way of being. And it's going to happen in our lifetime, but I don't know when. And then, and then COVID happened. And when COVID happened, it was like, oh, this is the beginning. Like, I just knew. And so I was shown my potential, not in a literal sense, just that I'm here for it, just the way you're all here for it, but that I have a part to play in it, which you all have a part to play in it. We all do. But for me, it was like my spirit came and said, hello, come on, wake up. You're here for this. It's time to get the ball rolling, and I was like, oh, okay, I need to know how to work with energy and blah, blah, blah. And that's what led me. I went full circle back to when I was a kid. I remembered all that. I said, oh man, I've been working with this my whole life, just didn't know it.
That is amazing. I have to tell you, first off, great explanation of ascension. And I love the way you brought in the whole the sun, the moon, the stars, and the earth. We're all in unison. Yes. We are ascending all as one. And so every single aspect that we are experiencing is all part of that leveling up. So when you are in this process of ascension actively, right? And that's probably most of everybody who's here in our audience. I think that they have this awareness that we are ascending, right? We're raising our vibrational frequency. We're leveling up in our lives. But what is it like for someone who has that awareness to be with others who don't have it?
Yeah, that can be challenging. Yeah, there's many of my students are in that place, exactly what you're talking about there. And just speaking from my own experience, been there, absolutely. Typically, like, we're considered the black sheep of the family in one way or another, or the weird one, or the one that's off or strange. But it can be very unsettling, because here we are, we know that there's something happening, we know that we're raising in vibration, and it doesn't seem like those around us are doing that. Right? And we want them to be part of it. We want them to come along. We want them to wake up. We want them to take responsibility. And it could be very, very challenging, because you feel like you're alone in it, or maybe they just don't understand. And so part of it is the understanding, when you pull back to the bigger picture, is that everybody's on their path. Everybody's exactly where they need to be based on who they are and what they came to experience. And that's where the whole soul contract thing comes in, because that's one of the things that I specialize in, is being able to read into people's soul contracts, and even to be able to read into people's families and see who's there doing what to experience what, like what their path is, what their blueprint is, like what's the best way for them to work with these energies to bring about the highest outcome for them as individuals. So when you're in this ascension process and you have this awareness, but the people around you don't have awareness around it, is to first and foremost come to the understanding of the respect of where they're at. You don't want to take that away from them. You don't want to project on them that they shouldn't be where they are and they need to be somewhere else, because they're where they are for a reason. And that's also where that allowing comes in and the letting go comes in. You got to let go and allow people to be who they are. It doesn't mean that you have to acquiesce to everything that they are and the choices that they make. But what it does mean is allow them to be in that space while you do your thing, right? And be in your place and show them the way by example, because you can't convince anybody of anything. You can't tell them no. It's like a child. You tell them not to touch the stove. They're going to touch the stove. They got to learn for themselves. They got to get that burn and say, all right, now I know why. So it's pulling back, understanding everybody has their path. Everybody has their contracts, honoring where they are, while at the same time, by doing that, you then give them permission to honor you where you're at. And so that's where I'm at right now, me personally, in my life with my family. My parents, my brothers, they hardly know what I do, right? And they're quite frankly, they love me, but they're not interested either. So I'm part of their lives, they're part of my life, but I honor where they are. I don't try to convince them or educate them or tell them anything. I'm just my own living example. And if they want or need something, they feel a resonance, they come and they ask me, but I don't come to them and say, listen, oh my God, I just want what's best for you. And you need to do this and this and this. It's like, that doesn't work. Right? It just, the more you push, the more that they'll push back. So just, that's where the multidimensional living in your heart, knowing and allowing and being in that place, you give them then permission as your living example to do the same, and it will create harmoniously where the harmony needs to be between the two of you for you to get what you need out of the relationship.
Yeah, I love, so much that you're emphasizing how important it is to honor each other's journeys, because there's no better, there's no worse, there's no good or bad. It is truly, I think, we're in this place of having the opportunity to learn unconditional love. But it also means that we must learn that for ourselves. And that is self-love, which is what I teach. And how important it is that we accept ourselves where we are without guilt, without shame,
Same.
without, why can't I be more like them kind of a thing. So, yeah, we're in such an interesting time. That is for sure.
For certain. And
Yeah.
my take is we've lived lifetimes for this lifetime. And then if you're here and you're in a body and you're on this planet, there's no better show in the world than what's happening right now. I know it could be very challenging, it could be really difficult at times, but you can handle it. There's a reason you qualified to be here for this shift and change. You qualified to be here, and you're here. And one of the responsibilities is to be as much in our light,
Yeah.
and to project out to the world that everybody receives what it is they need to receive in their highest and best good, right? Like I have, clients and students that come to me with all the problems in the world, and I say to them, it's good to be aware, but not attach. It's
Mhm.
good to be aware and hold compassion, but not pity. It's good to be aware, but you project out that everything works out better than best for all those involved, and that they receive everything that they need through that experience because they're there for a reason. Right? And that's part of the allowing and the trusting, is when you can say that, truly mean that. And even if you can't practice it, right? Because it's a practice, you build it and you develop it and you figure out how that works for you. But when you're in that place, then you allow everything to organically flow rather than sending constricting energies of fear or pain. Those are what they call pictures of reality. And those pictures of reality that you project are super powerful and impactful. So you might as well make it the highest and best good for everybody. They're there for a reason, and you're sending them the highest of, whether it's loving light or joy or comfort or strength or courage, and that everybody gets what they need from that situation with as much
Yeah.
ease and grace as possible.
I'm looking forward to our workshop. to get centered and all of that and reminded, just how important all of this is. And of course, for you to give us the tools and the processes that will help us to stay there because we're all in this together.
We are.
Yeah.
I'm going to
Amy.
put that link in the chat for people
Mhm.
to register. It is free. It's on the 22nd, and there will be a replay. And this is where you get to really dive in deep with Danielle and with her work, which, we're so happy that we're able to share her wisdom with you. And I'm going to, I don't know, Zoom and I are not very friendly today. But Marcy put
I have the link in. Yep, I put the link in. Just register. Yep, so you can have a spot there. And will there also be a replay of that, Amy?
Yeah, I believe so. And that you want to talk a little bit about what might be happening, Danielle, in that workshop for people to jump on in.
Oh, I think she already did.
Okay.
Yeah, I think you weren't hearing that part. Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
I was in that vortex.
In the no-fly zone.
I'm out of the vortex. Okay.
Woo!
So for many, many of us living here, living from the heart, for many of us living from the heart can feel quite challenging and scary. So what does it actually mean to live from the heart and feel, and what are some ways that where it's beneficial, where it really helps us in our life? And what are some of the ways that we can really make that happen and choose to live from the heart?
Yeah. So back in the day, I forget his name, James von Prague, if anybody's ever heard of him. He wrote the books Talking to Heaven. And I was listening to him speak, and he had said at that time that there's anything that you've ever thought or felt, any action, anything you've ever done or decision you ever made comes from one of two places. It either comes from love or it comes from fear. You could boil it all down to it's either love-based or fear-based. So when we live from the heart, it's choosing love. And so what does that look like? It looks like when you're making a choice that you, again, from your multidimensional self, of your mind, of your heart, of your feelings, you feel in and say, am I making this choice out of love or am I making it out of fear? So what something like that might look like is, say it's a new job prospect. And you're like, oh, I really want that job. Yeah, I want to take that job. So you think to yourself, okay, well, am I making that choice to take the job out of love or out of fear? Well, I'm making it because it's going to help me pay my rent. Okay, so then if you're only taking it because it's helping you to pay your rent, then that means that you're afraid of not paying your rent, and that's why you want to take the job. This is an example. Whereas coming from love would be like, you know what? It's my passion. It's my purpose. It's what I love doing. Maybe it's not like the safest road or the surefire thing, but I know that from my heart, it's true and I love it and it's going to bring me so much joy, right? So you make that decision based on love. And when we make decisions based on love, love is an expanding energy, which means when you make a choice based on love, you're going to expand. You're going to move in that direction on a higher timeline. You're going to move in that direction into your highest expression. You are supporting your energy to expand and grow. Whereas when you make decisions based on fear, fear is very limiting. I need this to get that. I'm afraid that this will happen, so I'll make this choice. I'm afraid. It's like the intention behind it. If your intention behind something is to avoid something that you think is unpleasurable, that's fear-based, which creates more fear. Because you're making that choice to make a decision based on fear, which means you're telling the universe, give me more fear. I'm making a choice based on fear. I'm supporting fear. So understand that the universe is very responsive. The fields of intelligence, which everything has intelligence, is always responding to you. Like here, this is a fun little kooky story. So way back when I was with my son's dad, which we're not together anymore, but he's, we're good friends. is I had these big crystals. I love huge crystals, right? Like big, big crystals. And he was always cursing at these crystals. Oh, these rocks and blah, 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 you know? And so what happened was when he would go to vacuum, you know, the house, he'd have to move these massive crystals and they would cut him. And he'd be like, son of a bitch, you know, that crystal cut me again. I'm like, because the crystals know you don't like them. You are sending to them, the fields of intelligence know what you are thinking and feeling. They are responding to you. So when you live from the heart, you are voting for expansion, growth. You're voting for more love in your life. And what is love? What's inside love, right? Inside love is compassion, joy, peace, happiness, right? Forgiveness, letting go, all those good, uplifting, rising, expanding energies are inside of love. So living from love, making choices from love, where your intentions are all driven by love, you're just letting the universe know like crazy, I just want more of that good stuff. And so the universe is going to respond. The fields of intelligence are going to respond in like kind. Moving from fear, then you're going to get that like kind. So that's living from love, for example.
Yes, love is so expansive and it's also addictive because, when you are radiating and then people are attracted to you for that, who you're being. And it's very inspirational and you can actually shift the energy of the room with love.
Oh, yeah, I do that actually a
Yeah.
lot, especially when I go to the supermarket. For some reason, supermarkets really jazz me up. I'll go in the supermarket and I'll just kind of like open my heart. I'll send the light out. I'll see it going through the floor and around the walls and you make it available, right? You're not pressing your will on anybody. You just make it available. Whoever wants to pick up with this, whoever wants to resonate with this, whoever can use some of this, it's there and available for you. If not, then no worries. It's not going to affect you. But yeah, and I do that. I mean, I do that everywhere I go, but in nature, oh my gosh, nature is so responsive. You go out into nature or, even just in my neighborhood, with the trees and the squirrels and the birds and, the rocks, the stones, the earth, everything. Because we live in a world of frequency matching. Everybody's heard of like attracts like, right? So when you resonate and you come from that place of love, which is, forgiveness, letting go, peace, acceptance, allowing people to be who they are, what they are, just sending them the best and the highest towards them, then what happens is the universe then sends it back to you, right? So it's frequency matching. So living from that place of love, it can really heighten, the synchronicity, the magic and miracles in your life. All that. And that's again working with the multidimensional self, thinking of that, that spectrum, the electromagnetic spectrum, because throughout that, all of that is real. We just only see that little bit. So when you shine that out, it's like the invisible spectrum, the invisible world, the unseen world works behind the scenes to bring you all that resonates in that same resonance that you're sending out.
Beautiful. And I think we can all see it. Like we could see the radiating from Danielle and that Danielle. And of course we want it. We want it. We want it also, right? So I'm going to ask you also, Danielle. I know that that many consider you a spiritual therapist. What does that mean, and why do you see it that way to your people, with your people?
Yeah, thanks so much. Spiritual therapist, because people think of, energy healing or, shamanic practices and things of that nature as like, oh, I'm going to go have a healing. But inevitably what happens is what comes up into the fields are the real challenges, the real difficulties, the real patterns and programs begin to make themselves evident. People are like, I don't know how to get past this. I don't know how to work through this. And so being like a spiritual therapist, I mean, I've had so many of my clients tell me that you're like a spiritual therapist. It's because I hold that space and I welcome them into their own internal journey by serving as that guide. Whereas, I mean, therapy in all forms is beautiful and has its place. But, so for example, unlike talk therapy, people can sit on the couch and talk therapy for years and really only scratch the surface of what they're working with. But when I work with my clients, it's all about let's get to the root of where that is. And because I work on a multi-dimensional spectrum, I can track that to anywhere, any place, anytime through the multiverse and be able to get to really where is this coming from. So for example, if say I'm working with somebody, on that unworthiness, it might bring us to 12 generations back on their mother's line because it's carrying down through the ancestral line. It's literally carrying down through the bloodline. It's carrying down through someone's DNA. It's like part of their programming where they just grew up and that's just the way it is, right? So as a spiritual therapist, it's like, oh my God, the most amazing therapy you could ever have, because you come into the session one way, you come out of the session a completely different way. And you're like, whoa, and all of a sudden you're like, wow. And you're spending that next, week or two just integrating the depth of clearing that made that space for this whole new way that maybe you've been working on your entire life but haven't really been able to make traction on. So that's why I see it that way, but also, I mean, it's just been mirrored back to me and echoed to me so many times through my clients that this is like therapy, but it's so quantum and multidimensional. So that's where the spiritual as a general term comes into play. I guess we can all just take a beautiful breath with that.
Yeah. I think we're all just sort of taking in what you've been talking about. One of the things that I'm sensing is that, you've been talking about the awakening, right? That is happening in the ascension patterns. And what it seems like is that because you're so tapped in, so tuned into those energies, it's giving you access to a lot of information that may not have otherwise been accessible to you. Would you say that's true?
Absolutely. 100%. And I believe that we all have that ability, right? It's just where is our focus, right? So, and that's one of the things I'm super passionate about, is showing people how to focus inward. It's not through selfishness. It's not through need or desperation. It's through awareness. We invest so much of our energy on what's outside of us. And the thing is that one thing I've always known, I think we've all know, that the only thing you can change is yourself. You can't change anything outside of you. It doesn't mean you're powerless. But what it means is that you have the ability to shift your reality by becoming best friends with yourself, knowing how you operate, knowing what matters to you most, knowing where your weaknesses are, your opportunities for growth are, and working with those things in a very conscious way with that self-love and acceptance. And then you become your own tuning fork. You become your own guide, right? Because as a multidimensional being, there is an expression of you in all dimensions. That's to go beyond just the mental and the emotional bodies, right? The spiritual bodies, the cathartic body, the celestial body. So if we come from source, if we come from God, the creator, and just for a linear sense, say God, the creator, is right here, right? In the umpteenth dimension, you'll say, and we're here. Well, if we came from there, that means there's a version of you all here, 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 here. So we're here to master this physical reality. So the more that we work with what shows up in our physical reality, but instead of projecting our responses and reactions to what's out there, we turn it inward and say, what's going on in here? It's like we got the cosmic janitorial broom and we're just clearing away all the illusion and delusion, all the programming and everything. And we step into this place of spaciousness and awareness that then those higher aspects of us can start coming into the body. Because that's really what the ascension is. It's the embodiment of all that you are in this physical form. It's not going up and out. It's taking what's out there, I'm using out there because it's really all here, but just in a linear sense, using out there and bringing it into here. But that means you have to make this a vessel that's fit for your higher beingness to come in. And so that's a process. And I love that process. And I love holding space and watching and guiding and seeing the transformation in people as they begin to light up, as their organic beingness starts to shine through, as more of their higher beingness feels safe enough to come into the body and work its magic. And so, Marcy, that's what you're feeling, is like that higher beingness being in the body and being
And
able to connect and communicate through the vessel, through the vehicle, which is the body.
Mhm. And so does the body respond to that as well? Are you
Yes.
seeing people having more physical issues trying to accommodate this light, this energy?
Yeah, for sure. And that's also part of the ascension. They call it the ascension symptoms, as you know, right? People feel achy, they feel flu-like symptoms. Everybody's different, right? Some people, it's sensitivity of the skin. Some people feel it in the bones, in the teeth. A lot of times in the teeth, because the teeth actually hold your programming, your ancestry. Like, it holds so much. So a lot of times doing clearing work, you'll start to feel in the jaw, right? The movement of the energy. But yeah, so people feel it, in all different ways. A lot of people have sicknesses or illnesses. Doctors don't know what it is. They'll say, oh, it's a flu.
Yeah,
Oh, you got a
flu
virus. Oh,
works
you
for
got something.
everything.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. They'll throw everything at you. I mean, I've had clients that are like, "Oh my God, I feel like I'm dying." I'm like, "You're not dying. You're just waking up." It's just part of you. It's more of you coming into you, and you have to make room and space for that. And that's where using the tools, right? That's what we need the tools for, to support us, so that we could feel a sense of connection, groundedness, empowerment. There's nothing like going through an ascension process, a visceral ascension process, right? Many times with my clients, they'll come in for a session and they'll begin going through a process. And it's like, okay, you know what to do, this, and this. And then they come out like feeling shiny and new at the end. Oh my God, like just more of me to work with, more of me to play with, more of me to be and express, and the joy and fulfillment that comes along with that. So yeah, it could be very unsettling if you don't know what's going on. You can feel like, oh my God, I'm losing it. Nobody knows what's going on, right? So, but yeah, so, using your tools, and that's also where the self-love comes from, nurturing yourself through it, not saying to yourself that you shouldn't feel this way or you shouldn't be going, but rather, it's a beautiful gift. It can be uncomfortable, but then you're like, oh, time for yourself, time to nurture, time to let go. I don't have to cook, clean, or do anything. I can lay in bed. I could watch TV. I can, sit back and just be with my body and allow my body to have its process. I remember in the very, very beginning, for me, that was one of the first times where I felt like I could just really let go. Because I could let go of my motherly responsibilities, my wife responsibilities, and just let myself just nurture myself and love myself through it. It was a beautiful building experience and learning experience going through that.
Yeah. So will we be experiencing this in the workshop? Will we have processes that'll help us feel to shiny and new again also?
Well, that's where I say come in with your intention,
Mm.
because you will receive what you intend. It's time for us to be a lot more conscious about our lives and what we're doing and how we're doing it. Doesn't mean more pressure. It just means set your intention. To say, you know what, my intention is to have, a wonderful experience of awakening. My intention is to have a breakthrough, right? My intention is to create more ease and grace in my life through what I'm going to gain in this, right? Set your intention for what you want to experience, right? And then surrender that to your higher beingness and say, okay, I surrender it to you and I allow myself to be in the flow of what happens. And that's the best way to allow whatever organically that's truly available for you in that moment to make its way through you.
And you'll help us to set an intention also, right?
Absolutely, yes. For sure.
Amazing. Amazing. Yeah.
Amazing. Yeah, for sure. I'm very excited. I'm very excited to share
Yeah.
with everybody. And, I love groups. I love working in groups because everybody brings in their own light. You also bring in your own team. So when I say team, like we all have what some people would consider angels or guides or ancestors, we all come in with our own entourage, right? Like way back in the day, I remember this is like, gosh, probably about 15 years ago. There was this woman on Facebook that was doing like free readings, psychic readings, mediumship readings. And I went and I met her at her house up in New York. And I'm like walking around the house trying to like, where do I go? Like I'm knocking here, I'm knocking there. And the woman comes to the door. She goes, oh my God. And I said, what? She goes, you have so many with you. How am I going to fit you all in my living room? Come on in. And I was like, what is this woman talking about? But yeah, so now I know we all have our entourages, we all have our teams. So it's like, it's you and your multidimensional self coming into the space and everything that you uniquely and only you have to offer into that space. And when we're in a group, it all culminates and it creates its own magic. And there's always a reason why certain people show up. We all have something in common. And the beautiful thing about the joy and the gift of facilitating for that is you never know what it is until you get there. And then you're feeling like, oh, that's what it is. And then you play and you bring it in and then everybody receives according to what everybody's bringing into the pot, right? Because nobody's an island. We're all doing it together. Right. And it's such a beautiful space to be in. It's very powerful, very, very powerful in groups. Yeah.
Ames.
Yes. So the link is in the chat if you want to join the workshop. Also, you'll have a chance on the replay to join us. Are you going to finish us off, Marcy?
I don't know. I wanted to hear from you. I hadn't heard from you in a bit. So did you want us to, you know what? I do have one question. Do you have anything else that you wanted to share about your in-body reincarnation?
Yeah. So
because that was such a unique experience. I just want everyone to make sure. I know that we had some people come in later,
I missed it, I think, because
I think you did too. Yeah.
I missed the good stuff. I want to hear that reincarnation.
All right, on repeat.
Okay, the reincarnation in the same body. So I'll give a little bit more context.
Okay.
So as I had said, I was like in a really bad place in my life, and I don't want to say bad. It was, it is what it is, but it was very uncomfortable, and it was pretty painful where I was, and I had no idea that when I stood out on my deck that night and I looked up earnestly at the stars and just was like, I'm done with this. I'm ready for my next phase, but I had no clue how to step into it. I had no idea that within weeks later I would just be in this bagel store. And what happened was, quite literally, is I had my cell phone on YouTube and I had it on speaker. I didn't have earbuds. I had it on speaker as loud as I could. And I had the phone in my handbag. And I ordered my bagels. And as I was walking out, the woman that was speaking, she was speaking about crystals. What happened was the woman that was speaking, it was like she just stopped speaking midstream. And this other voice came on as if it had been talking the whole time. Now, that other voice I came to know and understand as, later on, a famous channel, Barbara Marciniak, who channels the Palladians. I had never heard, I didn't even know about channeling. I was clueless. But yeah, so that voice came on and she was talking as if she had always been talking. And she said, it's okay. Get bored. Do nothing. Put your feet up. We give you permission. And when I heard that voice, it was like my whole inner beingness went, it literally felt like everything just turned and my head opened and this massive thrush of energy came in my body and I was out of my body. I was just like, but I'm still operating. I'm still walking through this, to the door. I tripped through the door. I'm out on this sidewalk on this main road in Massapequa, across from the Massapequa High School. And I was just in shock, but I wasn't quite connected in my body. But I made my way to the car, and it was summertime, and I've got black leather seats and interior. And I get to my car, I just kind of stumble. I sit in the car, and I'm just sitting in the car with this brown bagel bag in my hand, and I'm in a daze. And then all of a sudden I said, what am I doing? What am I doing? Oh, I put the bagel down, I turn the key on, I back up, I go to the light at the end of the parking lot. And I'm staring up at the light. And the light's red, and as I'm staring up at the light, that's when my whole life flashed before me. Everything I'd been, everything I'd gone through, and in a microsecond, and everything made 100% sense to me. There were no questions. It was just like I knew. I don't know how I knew. I just knew everything. It made 1,000% sense to me. And as that happened, all of a sudden I realized, and I'm looking up at the light, and this smile is just like, oh my God, I'm here. I've arrived. I made it. Like, I'm here. I made it. I am here. I've arrived, and the light turns green, and I start driving, and I'm looking at the road. And I mean, I've been up and down this road, Merrick Road, a bazillion times, and everything looked different, but the same. And I was like, oh my God. And I just knew like our place in the universe and what was happening in the world. And, there's this massive shift happening, and, I'm here for it. And, our connection to, within the solar system and the galaxy and the intelligence in the universe. And, like aliens, like, I mean, it was just like everything just was this very gentle, simple knowing. And I was elated. I was beyond excited. And I was just beside myself. And as I'm driving, I'm saying, well, what am I going to tell my husband? Well, what can I tell my husband? I don't even know what just happened. How do you even talk about it? Like, how do you describe, like, what could I say to him? He wouldn't understand. Nobody would understand. I don't even understand. And I got home, and I'm walking up the path with the brown bagel bag, and I get upstairs, and I'm looking down at the carpet, and it was like I could see all the little microfibers in the carpet, and everything was so alive and like so vivid. And it was like looking through eyes I've never seen through those eyes before. And I literally stood in the middle of my living room, not touching any walls, just looking around like, I'm here, like, here I am. It took me almost a year to integrate that. I'd walk around saying, what do I do with all of this? It was like you've lived your life in a container this small, and then all of a sudden the container was huge, and you're just like, where am I in space? Like, how do I brace myself? It was like relearning, in a sense, how to be in the world. It took me a year. But by the time, and the thing is that I knew right away 3 things. I needed to know 3 things. I needed to know how to work with energy. I needed to work with the planet. Needed to start working with the planet, and I needed to understand universal law. So right away, I dove into becoming a Reiki master. I joined a farm, been farming ever since, get my hands dirty, grow, connect, earth, harvest, the whole cycle. And I became a Reiki master, and I started studying universal law. And at that time, universal law was not, the law of attraction, people, but the law of attraction is incomplete, right? Because universal law is really, there's just one law, and it's the law of one, right? It doesn't make sense. There's just one law in the universe. It's the law of one, that everything's unified. All the other laws describe how that one law works. The law of attraction is just one small aspect of that piece of the pie. And each law is interdependent on all the other laws. So at that time, it was like I was partially channeling and partially like magnetizing to me the information that I needed. And I started teaching right away. Like within a few months, I was teaching. And I was doing it for free. It was like if I had a soapbox back in the day, I would have been on the corner. Hello, everybody. If you want to learn about the perpetual transmutation of energy, universal law, number, blah, 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 come see me at this place. And that's how I started. And then people would naturally come and say, I need help with this. I need that. And brought me to where I am today. So Yeah, it's a very profound, poignant part of my journey. And it answers a lot of questions when people say to me, well, how did you get to this place? Like, how did you get here? Well, that's a big part of that, journey and process was, and I came out of that like trails blazing. Like we all do, like we first start to wake up, we want to know everything. We want to do everything. And it was like I was steamroll ahead that my team had to come in and say, wait, pull back, pace yourself. You've got time. Don't worry. Just follow the heart, follow the passion, follow the interest. Just keep, don't worry. You got plenty of time. I was like, okay. But it took me a couple of years to get that, to slow down, right? But yeah, so thank you so much, Marcy, for that, question and for the opportunity to share all that. It's
It's
such a,
fascinating. I'm sure, people in our audience are so taken with it. And yeah, please, if you have any comments, put them in the chat. It's not the kind of thing that you hear every day.
And
yeah,
of course, we are there's two opportunities for you guys in the audience. The first opportunity, of course, is the workshop on the 22nd. The second opportunity is also your free gift, Daniel, that you are gifting to our audience. Can you speak into that so they can get to know your work more and experience everything you have to offer?
And how
yeah.
generous you are. You're
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah, so what I did is I put together a bundle packet, and it's a mixture of processes and meditations, which ultimately many of the meditations are a process, just in a very meditative form, so that you could relax into the embodiment of the process. And it comes in a form of MP4s and MP3s, which are audio and video files. So these things are designed to support you in your day to day life, right? So, for our hearts to really open and for us to really step into the multidimensionality of the heart, or even just to feel safe enough to open the heart, we need to feel that sense of safety, security, and clarity, right? You can't expect to open your heart when you're bogged down with so many interferences that hinder your being able to just open your heart and be in that expanded and explore that expanded space. So that's what these videos and audios are all about. So one of them is like to be able to multidimensionally clear your energetic space. Many of us have challenges with, energy, right? Many of us don't even know that we're having a challenge with it. But what that might look like is, say, after a gathering or a get together or going to a mall or, being out, you feel exhausted, right? Or like taking on other people's stuff, or even the levels of attachment that we feel to certain things. That's all kind of like energetic attachment. This is a process that helps you to cleanse, clear, and purify your space completely, so that you can feel more clarity, more grounding, feel like you're more connected within yourself. There's also in that like a heart opening meditation that really helps you to open the heart and bring in all levels and layers of yourself into the heart. And that one really helps you to raise your vibration, to expand your heart space, to be in that place of safety, security, and sovereignty, right? So it's these kinds of processes. I also have in that like a process that's going to help you to connect with your higher guidance, a process that's going to help you to focus your mind, to be able to build mental resilience within yourself, be able to build mental focus and memory. So these are all things that's kind of like a recipe. If you can focus your mind, if you can come into your body, if you could feel grounded, there's multidimensional grounding in that. If you can feel safe and secure, if you could feel connected to your higher guidance, and then be able to make choices and decisions from that, in that space, then you can really open your heart. You can really start to play with what that means for you and what that experience feels like for you, and also what that does for you. Because the times are getting hairy, right? As we continue on this path and the energies are so intense and there's so much chaos in the world, we're really being called to a place where we really need to be able to go inside ourselves, be able to access the resources, be able to bring in more sovereignty and stability from the inside out, not be dependent upon our external reality for our internal state of being. All of that, these tools support you in you embodying that process and experiencing that and bringing more love, security, happiness, joy, opportunities, health, well-being, peace, focus into your day-to-day life, regardless of what's happening around you.
So everybody, that's just her free gift. Okay. So you can imagine what she's going to bring to this workshop. I wouldn't miss it for anything at all. It's just going to be amazing. You're so generous always. You have such an amazing heart. And Amy and I are just so thrilled to have you here. And again, to start off our 2026 with so much power and just leveling up.
Yeah.
Leveling up. I can't even say that. Anybody try saying that 5 times. It's not possible.
Well, there's the you guys, there's a link to the free gift in the chat. We're also, you'll receive it in the email with the replay. So if you miss it here today, you can catch it on the replay emails that'll be going out later today. And thank you, Danielle, for this beautiful experience. And yeah, we cannot wait to have you on the workshop. And Jane can't wait either. So
beautiful.
I'm glad that she's going to come. And again, Marcy and I, Live with Marcy and Amy, we do this every month, the third Thursday of every month, where we bring beautiful content for you, challenging content for you, things that we are experiencing in the now today. We try to bring to our monthly lives so that it's relevant to you, and it really helps you shift in your own life and to really support you. We're really here to support you. As Marcy and I, we are going into our 5th year. I think that's what she said. So Marcy's the timekeeper.
Just remarkable. Yeah.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank you. Yeah. Thank you. Well, yeah. Well, I know we've just loved having you here, and I cannot help but mention that there was a message in the chat from your son, Tyler.
Aw.
Okay, and I just want everyone to know, yes, it is possible to be supported by a family member. So, Tyler, thank you so much for being here. And he says, love you, Mom. So proud of you. We're so happy that you were here. Yeah, you gave us all hope. Really,
thank you, Tyler.
Good. Thank you, Tyler. Yeah, and thank you everyone for being here, for taking your precious time and spending it with us. And I don't even have to ask. I know it was well worth your while. So thank you so much, everyone.
Thank you, Marcy. Thank you, Amy, so much for this beautiful space. And thank you, everybody, for showing up and sharing your time with me. Thank you. Love you all.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye, everyone.
See you next week.
That's right. See you next week.